everybody. Welcome to the Player's Take, episode 231. I'm your host, Justin DeSimone, joined by my co-host, Montrell Rice. Montrell, how are you doing this week?
I am living.
Living. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
That's stark. Is that all?
Yeah. I'm just living right now. Nothing really too bad happening. It's been a really hot week. I'm really waiting for this weather.
Summer.
Yeah, man. I'm really just waiting for this weather to like die down. So I want to get back outside, but it's too fucking hot, man.
Dude, you're gonna be waiting another month, bro. August is usually the fucking worst. So we haven't even begun. Yeah, it's for those of you not. I mean, I think the heat wave's been hitting the whole country, but yeah, here in Texas, North Texas, like, dude, it has been over 100. It feels like for 2 months straight now, almost. And it's just not true. It hasn't really been 2 months. Like, it hasn't been over 100 every day, but it's felt that way certainly.
Yeah,
dude, it is. I'm over it at this point. So, you know, it's fucking weird actually. You know how I told you my car AC wasn't working? It wasn't working super great.
Mhm.
Okay, you know a little bit about cars, so maybe you can help me out here. So I'm fucking driving home from playing Magic yesterday, and it's like late at night, so it's not super hot, so I'm not running the AC like really high or anything. It's 1 or 2, but it was kind of blowing like warm air, so I'm like, oh god, it's like breaking down finally. So I start fucking with it though, and two things. This has always happened with my car, but I'm kind of curious about this. I like when I'm driving and actively driving, and I try to turn my AC off, like just turn it off, like stop it from running. It'll just automatically turn itself back on, and it's always done that. It's done that for heat, AC. It doesn't matter. Like I'll hit the off button and it'll immediately just turn back on, like right away.
You may have to Google that one. That may be something with your actual, because you have a Fusion, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm assuming it's the newer one with the computer.
No, it's a button. No, it's a button.
Oh, it doesn't have the touch
I don't have a
screen.
computer. My car is just like on the cusp of when they started putting fucking like smartphones in your fucking car.
Oh, okay. In that case, I definitely don't know. I thought that may have been
it's just like a faulty button or something's wrong with the the activation of the button, like it's auto activating itself again without me pressing it. So that one's weird. That's not that important though.
Yeah, okay.
Because I'm usually running heat or cold, whatever time of the year it is here. So, but so I start fucking with the AC, right? And I just, I had it on max, max cold, obviously super hot. So I just like ticked it a couple ticks, like back towards the middle, like towards warm. And then I ticked it back down and it fucking fixed it. Like it was blowing super cold air again. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, are you fucking kidding me?
This is old. Maybe it was, you know how like you have a mush button or something like that on your controller?
Yeah.
I think that's probably what it was. It was probably stuck between two settings.
That's the dial, dude. It's the dial. That was the dial, the turn dial. That's like, I hadn't touched it in months, so it got fucked up, and just resetting it like that fixed the fucking thing. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, sometimes walking the cars, man.
Dude, oh my god, that was driving me crazy on the way home.
I thought maybe you needed more Freon in your car or something like that.
I was legitimately like cold on the way back home. It hadn't blown that cold in months. Like I was like, I had to turn it down to 1. I was like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, what the fuck is going on? So yeah, so yeah, I hopefully don't have to fix my car AC. It just seemed like it was malfunctioning for one reason, or I had a stuck button, on the dial. So, anyways, other than that, for me, life is going same way. I'm kind of just living right now. Work is fucking insane at the moment, but just trying to get through that every day. All right.
I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
This isn't like a serious question.
Okay.
So would you rather have this type of heat like for 3 months, or would you rather have, because both of us come from cold climates.
I know what you're at.
Yeah. So would you rather have a winter where like it's maybe below I say the worst it got in Michigan was like maybe below 10, so I'll say below 5 because that's records like 10
Okay.
below 10, below
I
20.
thought you
You
were gonna
never get
ask
that.
me. I thought you were gonna ask me would I rather be in like 85 or 90-degree heat with high humidity, or this like 105 with like no humidity. And
Well,
I'll
I guess that's a good question too. Would you rather be in either or? Which one would you rather be in?
always the pure heat, never humidity. Humidity is the worst, like the fucking worst, dude. Like you will. I mean, it's true even in this hot heat. Like I go outside for 10 minutes and I'm sweating immediately, but like humidity is even worse. Because it doesn't have to be that hot and you're sweating like constantly, just the level of
Yeah,
moisture
I
in the
think a
air.
lot of people in Texas don't understand that. When I tell them
Yeah.
like in Michigan we get like 85-degree weather, but also like 75%
hmm
humidity, and
hmm
it feels like you're in the sweltering jungle. Like they
Yeah.
don't understand that. So
Now I will say this summer's been pretty bad here though. The humidity's been higher than normal, like
yeah,
50-60%.
well, it's been a lot moist
And the
outside.
dew point,
Yeah,
has been super high, like record breaking.
yeah, it's been
um
really moist outside compared to
yeah.
like last year. So
Yeah. So, but to answer your original question, definitely winter, like one hundo, bro. Like this has always been my argument about hot versus cold, and I will fucking die on this goddamn hill. Like you people that prefer heat are psychopaths. Like
they are, they
I
are
know, I
legitimate
legitimately don't understand.
psychopaths.
You can do nothing about heat other than go inside into an air, like be in an air conditioned space or go into a pool. Like with cold, you can put clothes on, like more clothes on. You can stop the cold from affecting you. Like there are ways to deal with it that are practical, Like heat has none of that. You can only take off so many clothes. It's just
I
so
don't know.
yeah.
I feel like you can escape the cold. Like you can build a fire or
Mhm.
anything like that. It's just, and on top of that, like unless it's like I forgot what they call it, but like it's super freezing outside, you can still go outside and like do stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's still doable. Even in like 0-degree weather or something like that. Um I don't know, even when it's like 45 degrees or 35, 32 degrees or something like that, below freezing, snow on the ground, you still can go outside, have a good time, and then come inside. I feel like in Texas heat, you cannot go outside like peak hours. You can't do
Yeah.
you can't do it.
No,
It's
not during the
impossible.
afternoon. The height of the sun. Yeah, the peak of the sun, like noon through like 5 p.m., 6 p.m., dude. No way.
Yeah, you can't. You
Don't.
can't.
Yeah, yeah, I was, I wanted to get back into golf like earlier, like a month or two ago, and I went out to the driving range in June by myself, and I've wanted to go again, but this heat is so oppressive that I'm like, dude, I can't bring myself to go. It's too hot. That one day I went, dude, I was there for an hour and a half, and I was dying. Like it was so hot. It was, and I was, and dude, that was under like cover of shade, too.
Yeah,
So it's no, it's bad right now. There's just, yeah, mowing the lawn is a nightmare.
yeah. I don't even do it
Like
anymore. I pay. I start paying somebody again to do it, man.
I used to, and we've recently bought our own mower and just started doing it ourselves. But yeah, it's bad, man. I got to do it on like Saturday nights, basically.
Yeah,
Is how I'm having to handle it because it's either Saturday night, Sunday morning, or Sunday night. Like I can't, dude. Last time I tried to do it in the afternoon on a Sunday, like anywhere between 2 and 5, like I was dying. I was overheating. Like I had to take like consistent breaks to finish. Like it's that hot.
yeah,
So it's pretty bad. Definitely cold. Cold, always the cold. Like and especially in areas where it can snow when it's cold. Because
yeah.
I love snow. Shoveling. It's a great family activity. Not saying I want to do it all the time, but I do miss snow. So
Yeah, yeah, I'm the same way. I don't know. I joined a membership for a gun range that was like outdoors, but
mhm.
I did it during the springtime. So I was going to that gun range, but now I can't even. I've been paying for it, but I'm like I just can't do it. It's a exclusively outdoor gun range, so I can't do it though. I'm like it's just too fucking hot. So I had to like compensate and go to like an indoor gun range. But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel you. Like it's just for extracurricular activities. It's just really. I haven't went hiking or anything because it's like
Mm.
we have to wake up at like 7 o'clock in the morning just to get. so it can be 94 degrees when you wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning, just to get a good fucking hike
Yeah.
in. Because like it gets too hot by 11 o'clock. You have to be in the car or something like that
Yep.
because it's just too hot.
Yeah. Well, dude, it was weird. There was a few weeks ago. I remember I was taking the trash out one Sunday evening, and it was like late. You know, I'm a psycho. I take my trash at like 12:30 in the morning. Um,
Hmm.
but I remember there was like a cool breeze outside when I walked out of my garage, and I was like, "What?" Like this was in the height of it being 100 degrees every day. You know, like about a month ago or something.
Yeah,
So I just was like, it was so bizarre, you know. And I think that was the next day. That day was like 80 something. You know, it was like the high. It was just so random. You know, it was just some random
yeah,
day where it was like cooler. But yeah, no, it's no, I can't do the other issue with heat and sunlight like is the sunscreen aspect. Like if you're gonna do anything outside and you're not gonna cover up, like you got to put sunscreen on.
yeah,
It's like mandatory. That's why we don't go to the pool during the day. Like we go at night because you don't have to put sunscreen on, and it's just like I'll do it at the beach, but yeah, otherwise I hate putting the sunscreen on. It just takes like 15-20 minutes to properly do it, and I'm like, man, I don't want to do all that. So
yeah.
that's another strike against heat for me too.
Yeah, and then when you sweat, depending on the brand of sunscreen you get, you have to get the really good stuff because if you get like the cheap stuff, it's oily
Oh
on
yeah,
you and it's
yeah,
just not really
yeah. Like sun,
fun
you need
experience.
like Sunbum or Neutrogena or something like that. Like
Yeah, we
those.
get the Neutrogena ones.
Yeah.
But like when we went to the beach one time, we had to just pick up some because we forgot some, and yeah, it wasn't a good time because you know
Did it even work?
it worked. It was just fucking oily, man. Like it
Okay,
was, yeah, it
gotcha.
was hot and it was oily and shit, and
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to ask that question because I don't know. The heat has been killing me lately.
Mhm.
I feel like I'm in it's the winter time, but it's fucking summer. Like I can't go
You can't go
outside.
outside, yeah.
Yeah, man. Like
I think the other thing for me too is I like the cold because I like being bundled up in clothes. You know, hanging around the house in like a hoodie and some sweatpants is like super. That's like maximum comfort for me.
yeah.
I don't get to do that here in Texas, unfortunately. There's like a month or two of the year where that's like doable, maybe. You know, but usually it's still too warm to even do that. You know,
Yeah.
um, reliably. So yeah, pretty much I've gotten used to t-shirt and shorts, regardless of what time of year it is, for the most part. All right, let's get into the show, Montrell. So, for those of you who haven't listened before, this is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast app of choice. And if you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. We do have a question later in the show. So um, if you send them to us, we will answer them. All right, Montreal. So before we get into the show proper, there is a couple other things I wrote down that I kind of want to talk about. So what is happening with Twitter? What is this X? What the fuck happened? Like,
Um Elon must happen. That's what happened.
well, dude, it's not. I haven't. I don't see it on mobile. Like, I went to the desktop version of the site today for the first time in a while, and yeah, there's a giant X at the top of it. Like, what? I don't
Yeah, it's
understand. What?
he rebranded. That's the name of Twitter now. It's called X. Um, I think it's still called Twitter on the side. I don't know what he's doing with it. But I know he did some kind of interview or podcast or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And on the podcast, he pretty much wanted to turn Twitter into the American version, the Western version of WeChat. Because China, WeChat is very it's in everything pretty much on
Mm-hmm.
China's side of things. Like it can do almost everything. It can do transactions. It's a social media site and blah 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 blah. And he said he wanted that for Twitter. He thinks Twitter has that potential to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he wants to turn Twitter into that. So that's why he just rebranded as X. I mean, it kind of goes along with his brand. PayPal used to have X, some kind of X on it. SpaceX, Tesla used to have some kind of X on it as well. So he's just trying to bundle everything together under his company or whatever. I still think it's like a really shitty move. I think it's really bad. Um, it took years. Like other companies would, pay to have something called a tweet or
Hmm.
retweet, like those words and those slogans that we use and everything like that, like that are exclusive to Twitter. Like companies will kill to have that, but they don't have that. Twitter does, or did
Hmm.
rather. But if you just rebrand all that, like what are you going to call it now? Um, because like that's an exclusive thing to Twitter. It was just brand recognition, and I don't know, man. I think he's doing a little bit too much to punish the libs, in my opinion. He's just unhinged at this point. He didn't really want to buy Twitter. He was forced to buy Twitter, and
Okay, but all right, all right. He made the offer. Like, like, fuck off with that, bro. Like, you made the offer. Like, yeah, just because you had second thoughts and decided you wanted to back out, like,
he was
I don't know.
talking too much. It was
Yeah.
a thing of like, yeah, he didn't want to put his money where his mouth was at, and he was just talking way too much. He was talking way too much about free speech and way too much about Twitter becoming this and that and the third. And we need to get Twitter back. And Twitter is the town hall of our modern age and everything like that. And people were like, buy it. And he's like, all right, I'll buy it. And I just think he got talked into it. He was just, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, but he was just huffing too much air, and he bought it. And when it came down to it, he had to actually put his money where his mouth was, and they made him buy it. They didn't make him buy it, but he
Hmm.
went too far into the transaction to back out of it. And yeah, I think he learned his lesson. I don't think he learned his lesson. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Nobody knows what's going on. Only he knows what's going on. And he's not even like the CEO anymore. He actually has another person who's the CEO.
Right. Yeah, but it's
Um,
just like a puppet position. He's still
yeah,
running things,
but
clearly.
he's clearly still running things. And then on top of that, he had this weird program where he was paying certain people to tweet.
Hmm.
So like they were getting like $25,000 payouts for like really popular tweets and stuff like that.
Oh my god.
So um they're trying to drive ad revenue, which has always been the issue with Twitter. Before he even took over,
Oh yeah.
the issue was how do we get more ad revenue? Um and I don't know. It's just I don't think he's doing a really good job at this. He makes good investments. I think people conflate good investments with actually being the genius, and I fucking hate that. Not to call him stupid, but he makes really good investments. But he didn't invent Tesla. He didn't invent SpaceX. He didn't invent PayPal. He just made really good investments early on, and um, I think that conflated his ego, and then everyone else kind of like follows him as far as that. Like he has little Elon Musk drones or whatever. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. I used to think his heart was in the right place for certain things, but I think he just got around the wrong crowd. He's like, um, unironically, he's like a 14-year-old trapped in a 55-year-old billionaire's body. Like that's exactly what I think, bro.
Well,
Because the way he
yeah.
tweets, the way he communicates, sometimes he communicates like an adult, but then sometimes he tweets like a 14-year-old on 4chan, and it's so annoying.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, he also lives in a. I mean, he's literally like one of the. Is he still the richest person alive right now, or is it?
I think he may have got bumped to second place. I'm
Keeps
not too sure.
swinging
I
back
haven't.
and forth between him and
Yeah,
Bezos. Fucking, but like, dude, it's like when you have that much money, you're living a different life from literally everyone else on the planet. So he
yeah,
just has no. He's not in touch with any reality that any of us live in. That's why the people who are like sycophants for him like annoy the shit out of me. It's like the dude literally has no idea what your life is like and couldn't give a shit, you know? And he's
yeah.
telling you how to live your life. It just doesn't. It's like whatever.
Yeah, I mean that's the so I know this is a game news channel, y'all, but I don't know. Sometimes we can talk about technology and other things. That's kind of the thing that's going on right now in the GumTube universe right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, these gun tubers have vast amount of wealth, but they actually position themselves like the common man. But like when you get into guns, right, you quickly find out that for instance, the most popular red dot or holographic site, rather, EOTech, holographic sites that are popular on Call of Duty and everything. How much do you think those cost? Just off the top of your head.
Just a hollow site?
Yeah. Like the EOTech brand, which is like the most popular brand.
Boy, I'm gonna be way off here, but I'm gonna say like 500.
You can get a used one for 500, about $500 or $600.
Okay.
A
Okay.
brand new one is about $1,000.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Um, and then if you want like the magnifier, that's like $1,000 as well. So
Mhm.
EOTech, you'll be spending $2,000. And let's just say you built a $500 rifle. So your attachments themselves are like $500, or $2,000 rather. Um,
Yeah, it sounds about
so
right.
yeah. But you can build a rifle for about $2,000. Like for
Mhm.
example, like the Daniels defense rifle. That's the most popular rifle right now because of like unfortunately the tragedy that happened in Uvalde. That rifle was like $1,800 or something like that. So I mean, like even my AK that I bought and then I put accessories on it. Like at the end of the day, I think it cost like $2,000 or something like that. As far as all the accessories I put on it
Mhm.
and the changing I did to it. Anyway, I'm getting off the topic. So, um, you would see like these gun tubers push these like products and everything like that and all this other stuff like that. And it's like they're like, oh man, well, you gotta have this and you gotta have that. And and the community itself kind of mimics that. And it's like, well, what about if I'm like, you know, just a regular middle class person, probably making anywhere between 65 and $80,000 a year, and I have a family. I don't have expenses. I don't have that kind of luxury expense to do certain things like that. Like some people just don't have that. It's just a real unrealistic expectation because like you go on these gun tube channels, uh, and they're like, "Oh man, you got to get your your night vision goggles." Now, you're never gonna guess how much night vision goggle cost. Uh, Everyone has. If you were to get into guns and like you go to the popular YouTubers, every one of
Mhm.
them has them.
Yeah.
Night vision alone by itself can cost anywhere
Hold
to
on,
get
hold on,
the.
hold on. Let me guess.
Okay, go.
I want to guess. I'm just gonna go way out there.
Okay.
Uh, night vision goggle. I mean, I think a realistic guess, like what I think, based on what you're saying,
Hmm.
like without what you're saying, rather, a realistic guess in my head would be like 3,000. But based on what you're saying, you're making it sound like it's like 10 grand.
That's actually correct. So what you just said, anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 for night
Okay.
vision goggles.
Okay.
um,
Jesus.
you can probably get a used pair if you really search
Mhm.
for not a pair, but like the single eye monocle that like flips down for
Okay.
like maybe $2,000
Yeah.
if you find it used. But yeah, and they'll tell you you need this stuff to be ready, to be prepared. For what, bro? For what? I'm not about to fight China. Like China's about to fight just drop the sky right now. I'm not about to fight Russia. Like who
Mhm.
am I? Who am I about to fight? You know, I'm not about to fight these people right now. So it's
Yeah.
like I don't know. So I, but just to say that like he lives in they live in this world and like he lives in and Elon Musk lives in this world where like it's just not feasible. And I just don't like it. Like it makes like I think capitalism could be a really good tool for humanity, but it's just like the way people use it nowadays is just so fucking crazy though. Like,
We're broke. Nah, bro, we're broken. We're broken in that regard. I was watching a video on inflation the other day, and dude, it's like they were talking about Hot Wheels or some shit. They used to be $1 like 30 years ago, and they were fully die cast metal, right? So they were like really high quality.
yeah,
Now to get the same thing, they still make the die cast metal ones. They're like $7 per.
yeah,
Like what
bro. This is not even
for
Hot
little Hot
Wheels.
Wheels? Like
This is not even Hot Wheels. Did you ever go to McDonald's to get a McChicken? It used to cost $1.
oh yeah, oh yeah, they had the full dollar menu, dude. Back in the day, I remember when I was a kid, we would go all the time. I'd get like fucking 4 sandwiches and some fries for $5, and that was like my meal for the day. Like
Yeah, that was the shit. Like even in high school, that like we would walk
double
down to like the
cheeseburgers were on the
yeah,
dollar
man.
menu. They were on the dollar menu at McDonald's. McDonald's was the shit, man. That was the place to fucking go if you wanted a cheap dinner or cheap lunch. Like
Yeah,
now, the double cheeseburger is like $3 now. Like you, and it's on their fucking value menu, quote unquote. You know, it's like
yeah.
fuck.
So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just wild. How everyone has these expectations and everything, and then like even like the crypto market is going crazy right now. Because two crypto people, one person got kidnapped and beat up because like the scams that are coming out of crypto now. That's why I can never trust it. I mean, so many scams in crypto. And then one person actually, unfortunately, got killed, and they found his body parts. But he was
Yep.
like one of the crypto kings or whatever. And it's
Yeah.
like it's getting scary out here, man. Like you just gotta stop following all these other people's, and you gotta stop doing the scamming. Like you just can't say a lot of stuff to anyone anymore because it's getting really crazy out here.
Well, I think what I'll say here is be careful with listening to influencers, especially their advice on anything to do with
Hmm.
the real world.
Yes.
If you want to listen to them talk about video games or sports or whatever the fuck, sure, like
Yeah.
we're all assholes. We can all have the same perspectives or different perspectives on that shit. But anything in the real world in terms of financial advice, political advice, things like that, be careful when you're listening to influencers because they don't have any perspective that people like me and Montrell or you guys listening have. Like they're fucking millionaires. Most of them. They don't have to work. Like anybody that like to be frank, anybody that doesn't have to work like could literally live without working a day in their life. Like even if they had to work hard to get where they are, um, I wouldn't really listen to their perspective. They're not living a life that's realistic for any of the rest of us. Like
Mhm.
they're shaded. Now, if you were not, if you kind of built yourself up, there's a period of time after you get to that point where you're like super rich as an influencer, where your perspective is probably still there and still relevant. But the further out you get from that moment, like when that happens, the less and less your perspective is relevant anymore. Because I'm thinking of somebody like Asmongold, for example, right? His whole brand is like he's a lazy, fucking dirty, guy, that like is super lazy, doesn't do anything, has like no, that's like his perceived um persona that he puts out there. But this is a dude who's a fucking millionaire, millions and millions and millions and millions of fucking dollars. Like he's literally talked about losing hundreds of thousands of dollars on the stock market and fucking doesn't give shit. That's how much money this fucking dude has. So as much as I like him and his commentary sometimes, like he has no basis of being in touch with like the fucking reality of the common man. Like so
Yeah, I mean, it affects everything. Even if you're not making that much money, you may get a video game for free. For free, that affects your review of it
right,
because you're not spending $70 to get the game
right,
and all this other stuff like that. Or
absolutely
you may be playing like Honkai or Genshin Impact, and they may give you some kind of characters that actually
free
help you
rolls or
progress
something.
free
Yeah,
roles. Yeah, and that will influence your thing. And I'm not saying like that's why a lot of people get famous so you can get these perks and everything, and there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is it's just like it's hard to trust people's opinions on stuff like that because obviously you're getting some kind of perk on it. So I don't know. I don't even know how we got to this topic, but yeah, like it's just
talking about Twitter.
Twitter. Yeah, like, well, I mean, I guess that makes sense because Twitter,
Yeah.
has the influencer. I think it was literally bought by an influencer. Like Elon Musk is he's a businessman, but he's also an influencer. And
Mhm.
now we're just seeing the repercussions behind like the influencer culture, in my opinion. Like he has a huge following, um, because of his business moves and his personality. So I don't know. It's gonna be weird.
Yep, fair enough. Yeah, so I mean, we don't always talk about just video games on this show. There's some
Yeah.
nuggets of wisdom in there as well sometimes. All right. The other thing, Montreal, we're gonna take a fucking severe right turn right now. So it was my wife's birthday this past weekend, and she
Mhm.
really wanted to go see Barbie, the Barbie movie,
I
and
wanted to see that movie too. I haven't
she
seen it
took
yet.
she took me out. We I went out with her to see it, and I just kind of wanted to talk about this real quick because this movie, obviously, this came out the same weekend as Oppenheimer, and this became like a fucking meme, Barbenheimer or whatever. We literally saw people wearing the shirt where it was like split in half, and it had half Barbie, half Oppenheimer on it. Like there were a couple people wearing those in our theater, so this was like a fucking thing. But the Barbie movie was actually surprisingly fun for the most part. I largely enjoyed the movie actually. there are some parts in it, especially towards the end, where it gets super preachy. And definitely would caution you if you get triggered by you know, that kind of stuff. Especially female empowerment speeches, because there's a couple of those, and they kind of take you out of the movie for sure. They like bludgeon you over the head with it. It's not like subtle at all. So, but other than that, good movie overall. It was surprisingly funny. The it was like the beginning of it was fucking insane. I'm gonna be honest. And to the point that I was like, what is going on? This is not at all what I would expect this movie to be. So, but Margot Robbie as Barbie was great, and Ryan Gosling though fucking stole the show, dude, as Ken.
Hmm.
It was really good. I would actually recommend people see it. Um, just with that caveat that there are parts of the movie where you may be kind of taken out of it a little bit, but otherwise it's good. I mean, like, to be clear too, I agree with the message they were saying, just not the way they were saying it.
Just
So
not the way they were saying it. Yeah,
yeah,
the way it was
right,
presented.
yeah, yeah. It was definitely painting men in a certain way, that very blanket statement like, that
Okay.
I didn't personally appreciate. But to be fair, it's a fucking Barbie movie. What did you expect? What do you expect?
Yeah.
It's literally like I did walk into the movie expecting something like along those lines. So, um, it was gonna happen, so it's fine. Take that out. Like, the movie's pretty fun overall. So the cast seemed like they were having a fucking blast. By the way, like everybody was like super in on their role. Like, there really was nobody that like was bad or kind of made the movie like come down at all. Like, everybody was like fucking selling it, man. So there were some musical numbers in there that were like really good actually too. One in particular with Ken that was like super fucking good towards the end of the movie. That was like literally like 5 minutes long, but I was fucking in on it. So so yeah, there's some good stuff in there. Um so yeah, I don't. You probably wouldn't have expected that, but yeah, Barbie movie's pretty good. Yeah, Montreal. I feel like you and Deanna would probably find it pretty fun. So,
Yeah,
um,
I wanted to see that, and I wanted to see Oppenheimer. So, I'm just probably going to catch it when they come out on video because I don't know, it's just been too hot for me to go to the theater. But,
yeah, it's
um,
fair. I mean, I will say it's probably a good call. Just like rent it for like $2 on Amazon once it's available.
okay,
Um, but it's not so good that I would say go spend the $20 to go to the theater. Like, probably not. It's probably a movie
okay,
that's a good rental for sure.
okay.
But it's probably not what you expect though. So, all right, Montrell, let's get into the show proper. Talk about what we've been playing. Um, you want to go first this week?
Yeah,
Is the one
that's all
game
I've
you
been.
have still
That's
the
all.
only one you've been playing?
Yeah, I'm thinking about to drop it. I don't know, man. This game's fucking huge, bro. It
Yes.
is. I made a mistake and went to one of the DLCs, and I'm in
Oh
like
no.
Far Harbor Island or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that DLC is actually written pretty well. To be honest with you, if they can take what they've been doing with the DLC and with that DLC and kind of apply it to like the next Fallout game or whatever, um, I wouldn't have any issues because the writing is actually way better than it is in the base game for the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just been playing it and I think I'm just like I'm 55 hours in and I'm nowhere near ending the game at all. It's just a huge fucking
Too
game.
big.
Yeah, it's a huge fucking game. It's fun, with me modding it and everything like that, um, and playing it the way I want to play it, and or not the way I want to play it, but the challenge that it gives me and everything like that. So it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because I didn't make the game easier. Like a lot of people mod games to make them easier, but it's really weird how the Fallout community modded the game to make it harder,
Yeah.
and I love it for it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna actually play though. Like I'm in a gaming funk ever since, and we'll talk about it later. Ever since
Yeah.
I saw the fucking whatchamacallit Armored Core trailer. I just
Oh
want to play fucking
yeah.
Armored Core
Oh
now.
no, bro.
Yeah,
Oh
man.
no.
I just really want to play Armored
Yeah.
Core.
Well, Andy and I have been fucking you over all week too.
Yeah.
Andy more than me, but Montrell's been trying to get us to play Monster Hunter Iceborne, Monster Hunter World Iceborne all week, and Andy's had an excuse every night. I just didn't want to play Tuesday. I was like fucking tired and just didn't have the energy for it. But yeah. I mean, he said he's down. We just gotta get it. We gotta nail him down and get him online. So
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even check to see because I wanted to do the test when you wanted to do like the test when we played on PlayStation to see. I'm like, oh yeah, we could play just on PlayStation then. That would be cool. But if we could play it on PC, that would be cool as well. So I have it on both. But yeah, I just been trying to play something. I don't know what I'm going to play. Like if we don't play Iceborne, I don't know. I'm probably just gonna go through one of my backlog games. The problem is, I think I beat everything that was backlogged on. So, like,
there's no way, bro.
I think I did. I
There's no
think I beat everything.
dude.
I wasn't really far behind. If I put the game down, I'll put it down for a reason. And I didn't like it. So
I'm sure you
yeah,
can find a fucking video game to play.
yeah, I can.
No, I'm
I
just
think
kidding.
I'm gonna.
I'm kidding. I know what you're talking. I know where you are right now. You're a month away from a game you really want to play, and nothing's gonna fill that void.
Pretty much.
It's that I know where you are. It sucks actually, and it sucks that you're so far away from it because usually for me it happens like a week or two before the game comes out, and it feels like a fucking eternity. So, yeah.
Yeah, and there's like nothing to fill that void for that game because that game is like one of
You
a
could try
kind.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Nah, it's not a mech game, bro. I need a mech game.
No, fuck the mech game. Just play something fun. Like find something good to play.
I know, but I think I can beat like a Baldur's Gate, maybe a long ass game with that.
Nah, it's gonna be a huge game.
I don't know. I've been thinking about tackling some of the DLC for Xenoblade.
Okay, that's doable.
Yeah, I think I might do that.
You could try Tactics Ogre.
Yeah, I can.
Or fuck Front Mission. Weren't you gonna play Front Mission? Different kind of
Yeah,
mecha.
I gotta
but...
buy it though. Yeah, but
I think it's only 30 on eShop.
Okay. Yeah, I think I might buy that.
Hold on, let me check if it's on sale right now too. Come on. Fucking Nintendo site's slow as fuck. All right, Front Mission first.
Speaking of the eShop, have you went to the eShop lately?
Nope.
Okay. If you go to the eShop, I don't know, maybe they changed it by now. But like 2 weeks ago, it was some questionable stuff at the front page.
Oh, really?
Like yeah, they had a game literally called Hentai Girls on the front page for $2.
Whoa, what?
Yeah. And there was
Holy shit.
It was like another Wafu simulator type game that was like showing cleavage, but like obviously they were clothed. But
Nintendo, what the fuck, bro?
I don't think Nintendo gives a fuck about censorship, bro. They're like, we're full on Japanese.
No, we covered this because these games used to be on PlayStation. Those games, the hentai fucking visual novel games and shit, and they all migrated to Steam, and then Nintendo started taking a lot of them too when Sony started blocking them. So I'm not surprised, but the idea that it would be on the front page of eShop is insane, dude. That's crazy.
It was on the front page. Obviously it was censored, but because it was a sale going on for them, and I thought I was the only one who noticed it, but somebody else tweeted like, "Yo, what's going on, Nintendo?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'm not crazy then." So
$35 actually right now. So
okay, yeah, if I'm in the mood to buy it, I might buy it. I don't know if I'm in the mood for a strategy game right now.
I don't know, dude. Oh, yeah, I know. I'm playing Tactics Ogre. I don't know if I have I'm not sure I'm in the mood for this right now either. But yeah, okay. Well, if you figure it out, I'm sure you'll talk about it next week. So, for me, it's mostly just been more Honkai and then Tactics Ogre Reborn. So I was talking about last week that I was kind of hitting a wall a little bit with Tactics Ogre again, but I kind of broke through it this past week. I got through majority of chapter 4. I'm at Union level 36 is my cap right now, and I've been there pretty much for the entire week since the last recording. I've been so I hit the point in the game where like all the side quests open up, and I've been knocking those out, trying to gather characters and start getting high level equipment and stuff, and then equipment recipes. So that's been kind of my jam. I've been it's really grindy. You're just kind of just doing maps after map after map after map of just fighting random groups of enemies, and I don't have a problem with this, but yeah, I know a lot of people. This would definitely be a breaking point for many people with this game. I don't think there's a huge group of people who are psychotic to spend like tens of hours just grinding maps for fucking side quests and shit in this kind of game. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing. I'm almost to the point where I only have like two major things left to do, and then the rest of it's kind of a lot of pretty quick side quests that will get you characters after the game is over. And those two things are the San Bronsa Ruins, which is a giant dungeon. I want to say it's somewhere between 25 and 50 floors, and each floor is a battle, basically. And then Palace of the Dead, which is the big dungeon in this game. It actually has 115 floors, and it is fucking massive, and it contains the large majority of all the rare equipment and recipes in the game, and requires a lot of grinding, where you are kind of farming enemies for drops, specifically. So that is kind of my next thing, and I'm not sure I'm going to jump into it right away. I need to find out, because in order to full complete the game, you need to run through Palace of the Dead, I think, a minimum of 2 times, because there's one boss at the end at level 100 the first time you do it, and then there's a different boss at level 100 the second time you do it, which then unlocks the final 15 levels, and then there's another boss at the end of that 15th, the 115th level. So I need to figure out if I can stave off the first run through until after I'm done with the game, or if I need to do it in chapter 4 now while I'm still there. That's kind of going to determine my path. Because if I can wait to do it, I'm going to do that. I'm going to push that off. I don't want to do it right now. If I have a preference, I'd rather go finish the game first and kind of unlock the world tarot system and be able to go back into the other paths and get all the other characters and then start farming gear and shit.
Hmm.
That's kind of what I would prefer. So I'll figure that out though. I have been kind of mainlining this game. Like I said, I wanted to put it to the side, but it's kind of I finally got the bug back. The bug hit me again with this game. So because the thing is, the core gameplay is still fucking really good. You know, the
Yeah.
tactical battles are super fun. But it's just that leveling system, man, sucks dick. So once I unlock, levels 40 through 36 through 50, I'm hoping I can actually just play the game naturally and level up after that, rather than like having to go into training and fucking grind the way I was doing it. That's kind of my hope right now. Um, so yeah, I'll report back based on what happens with that when I get there, though, of course. And then, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I do want to play Monster Hunter with you, Montreal. So we need to figure that out this weekend. Uh, Try to nail Andy down one of these days. But I don't know how deep I really want to get into it with Baldur's Gate coming out, and then we got Armored Core at the end of August. So because I feel like we're gonna drop it like a ton of bricks when Armored Core comes out, or at least you are. So um, you know, so I don't know, but we'll figure that part out. So all right, let's move into the news. We actually have a decent amount of stories this week. Um, Let us start with a company we haven't talked about in a while, Tencent. Techland announced this week that they will be getting that Tencent will be taking majority shareholder control of Techland, and Techland is a company that made Dying Light and Dying Light 2. They spun off from the developer that made the first Dead Island game. So, and then this was part of their quote about this from the Techland CEO. Uh, Quote, I couldn't be happier about us making this giant step ahead toward the future and sharing this moment with you. Thank you for being on this journey with us on this journey, playing our games and being an endless source of inspiration and positive energy that keeps us moving forward. And then there was something else. Hold on, I want to find the right quote here because I got super annoyed by this shit. Let's see. Today, I'm happy to announce the partnership with Tencent, who are in the process of becoming Techland's majority shareholder. Teaming up with Tencent will allow us to move full speed ahead with the execution of the vision for our games. We have chosen an ally who has already partnered with some of the world's finest video game companies and helped them reach new heights while respecting their way of doing things. We will retain full ownership of our IPs, maintain creative freedom, and continue to operate the way we believe is right. I'm also going to continue serving as the studio's CEO. So, yeah, Montreal, there's not a lot of analysis here. I mean, this is just another 10-cent gobbling up. But the thing I wanted to talk about here is I'm just getting so tired of these announcements with Tencent and then even like the Saudi wealth fund with these game companies where, dude, I feel like I'm reading like fucking sports coaches, like, head coaches fucking talk about their fucking teams. It's like Jason Garrett talking about the Cowboys, like, oh, we're getting better every week, guys. We're practicing every fucking day. We're following the process and we're getting better every day. It's like that. It's like that kind of shit, like where they're saying nothing. And
Yeah.
it's just this like, but there's like there's a little bit of a crack in here though. The line about retaining full ownership of their IPs, maintaining creative freedom, and continuing to operate the way we believe is right. That bullshit in there, isn't that a fucking acknowledgement that they fucking know what they're doing? They know what they're doing and they know we know, It's fucking bullshit. Like, it is so stupid. Like how you write all this flowery fucking language, this bullshit about, oh, Tencent's a great partner, blah, 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 blah. It's like, but you need to make sure people know that they're not coming in as the big bad fucking Chinese corporation and they're gonna blow everything up and fucking like take over our games and make us fucking censor Taiwan and shit. Like, it's I'm just so fucking tired of this shit. It's like I'm kind of over it at this point. It's like we've read this fucking statement 100 times at this point over the course of this fucking podcast, and it's like, you guys know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. You're taking fucking money. You're taking money, and you're giving money ultimately to a government that is fucking oppressive as shit. And it's like,
yeah.
where's the line? Where's the fucking line? There is no fucking line. To Montrell's point about capitalism earlier, this is what it is. There is no evil. There is no evil too steep for us to not just take the money, to not just take the money.
I feel like our one what was our one strength is now our one weakness. Because obviously of stuff like this. I don't know how to feel about this. I mean, companies want to, it's business, to be honest with you. I mean, I feel like if I was in that position, like removed from the podcast, and I was working at a company for about 10 years, or I was a game company for like the last 10 years, maybe I would do the same thing too. I mean, they're not looking at it from the geopolitical side of things. They're just looking at it from like, I have employees, I have mouths to feed, and this is what I have to do. But at the same time, it's just like, it is, especially like China's oppressive, but I think Saudi Arabia,
oh my god, way worse.
Yeah,
so
way way worse. And I mean, I think they own part of Square Enix, right? Saudi Arabia, or is it China?
They own a part of Nintendo, Capcom, and others.
Okay.
And I think they were working on a deal. Wasn't an Embracer that they gave some money to recently?
Yeah.
Which we had the same kind of bullshit statement from them about that.
I don't know. It's just, I don't think people are gonna, turn the eye to it. Well, I thought back in like 2017, 2018, or no, 2018, 2019, because we were on the podcast then, when the whole Free Hong Kong thing came up and Blizzard censored everything and even like deleted a team, I thought we would have like, people would have been like, hey, let's start looking into the investments a little bit better. But obviously, like, that was just one situation and it blew over, and people quickly forgot about it. So I don't like the way this is moving, because like I said, like, this is capitalism. Not to get political and stuff like that, but in video games, like, I really don't like it. Because there is going to come a point where they're going to start doing censorship. They're going to start doing whatever. Or maybe they'll just leave it like, hey, we're still getting money. We're going to censor it on our side of things, but whatever you want to do in the rest of the world, you can do the rest of the world. So I don't know. I mean, we see the games they make though. Like Genshin Impact is clearly like degeneracy. Sorry, no offense, Justin.
No, 100%. No, call me what I am, bro. I know what I am. I am a degenerate for playing that game and playing Honkai Star Rail. There's no
Well,
cap on that, bro. Like
I'm not talking about the money wise. I'm talking about like the way
no,
the characters
I'm
are
talking
designed.
about I'm talking about all of it. The gotcha system, the character designs, the fucking female bullshit. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, no,
Um, And I mean, clearly that shit's probably censored as fuck over in China. But I feel like in the rest of the world, it's okay, because they know what type of money they're getting from it. So I think Genshin Impact is a really good example of like what Chinese companies are doing. They're like, hey, we can censor over here, and we're gonna do it over here, but we're just gonna milk it wherever the fuck we can. We're gonna give the people what they want over
mm-hmm.
there. Um, so as far as like China, I'm not really too worried about this. To be honest with you, I think I truly believe this is going to be business as usual. Like now, Saudi Arabia and everything, that one, I think in the future that it could become a problem, because of the censorship.
Yeah,
I think that's going to become a huge problem, because
yeah,
they even banned some games that they own, I believe.
yeah.
They even banned some movies, not that they own or whatever, but if it has like one gay scene or something like that, or not even a crazy gay scene, like somebody may be kissing or something like that, they would censor it. So, or they'll ban it just outright. It's like it's not coming over here. It's not. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that's like the bigger problem right now. But this is a big problem. Like American,
Well, yeah,
you know, publishers are losing their foothold, and maybe that's why the consolidation is happening so fast right now. Like,
mm-hmm.
they're trying to compete with that, but I don't know. I can't see a world where Sony and Xbox and even Nintendo is not looking at what Tencent's doing and like, okay, we may have a problem here.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, which might be why Microsoft's buying Activision Blizzard. They're
Yeah.
doing it so Tencent can't, right? Because we talked about that before. That if the deal fell through, who could realistically make that purchase? Tencent. They're
Yep.
probably the only ones other than Microsoft. Um, and to be fair to your point, there's actually reports. This isn't a news item for us, but just to bring this up real quick, there's fear that Spider-Man 2 is going to be banned in the Middle East. Pre-orders have been removed from the store pages in the Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, sorry, Qatar, and Kuwait. So
What does
they're
it have
not
like a gay scene in
censoring.
it?
I have no idea why. There's no reasoning why that's been confirmed or anything like that. But there's just speculation going on right now. But the pre-order pages have been taken down on PlayStation Store. You cannot even pre-order the game in those territories
Hmm.
anymore. So, and also the the idea that Tencent kind of takes a hands-off approach with this stuff and gives everybody their autonomy. This is the thing. I don't give a shit about this bullshit. Okay, like when you own somebody, right? You
Yeah.
could literally wake up tomorrow and change your fucking mind.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true. That's
like
totally
it,
true.
and the other thing is that companies are not individuals. Okay, and this is a really important point because I've seen this in the organization I work for now multiple times. When leadership changes, the direction of the company changes, and
Yes.
whenever that happens at Tencent, this policy might change. So just keep that in mind. It's not going to stay this way forever. Like, they're not going to do the same thing for fucking ever. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll have multiple regimes that all have the same philosophy and they just keep doing this forever. But, like,
It is
I
a
just
very
sincerely
slippery.
doubt that.
It's a very slippery slope that a lot of American companies are getting into right now.
Yeah.
But I feel like the way the economy is, they're forced to do that. Like I feel like
Yeah, but they made the economy this way. Like, fuck that. God, I fucking hate
Well,
it.
I'm talking about like the middle men, like the middleware companies and everything like that, like the
Yeah.
people for Dying Light 2 and
Okay.
everything like
All
that.
right. Yeah, I
Like
guess you're right.
they're
Techland.
kind of like
Yeah.
forced to do this because they need that capital to continue to make the games they want to make. Um, now that's a whole other discussion. Like, I mean, we can do a side discussion on how publishers formed the world of video games that we're in,
Yeah.
because I think that's a really good discussion, and I think a
Right.
lot of people don't understand like how systematic and how systemic rather and rooted it is, how publishers really, this is the perfect publisher world right now in video games. This is the perfect publisher world because in the past it was hell for them. They couldn't figure out how to generate a consistent dollar. now they know how to generate a consistent dollar. Um, and
Titties.
I mean, yeah, titties and everything like that,
Microtransactions, yeah.
but like, even microtransactions for like Fortnite and Call of Duty and Madden and all this other stuff like that, to the point where like we have people talking about, what kind of roles they're getting and getting excited for getting free roles in fucking 2K. Like it's just really weird
Yeah.
to me when I see people tweet like that. Like, oh man, I just rode this, these pair of Jordans for my character, and I'm like, what? And they're like excited about it. So I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just the same for me.
Yeah,
I
man. I
don't know.
mean, it's like a gotcha game, bro. It's like, I got fucking I got Bronya and Honkai Star Rail, or I got fucking Raiden Shogun and Genshin. And like people get excited about it. The whole system is designed to give you that dopamine rush,
Yeah,
and 2K, it sounds like it's gone down that same fucking path, basically. And there are tons of people who play these games that like this has become a sincere genre. Like gotcha has become a massive genre in video games, and it was something I was exposed to through Fire Emblem. And I have since, I mean, I've actually jumped around and played a ton of them since, because I'm a fucking degenerate. But it's like I do it eyes wide open though. I fucking know what I'm doing. I'm
yeah,
not like pretending that this is cool or anything like that. I'm never gonna tell you guys to go fucking spend money on Hawkeye Star Rail or Genshin Impact. Don't fucking do it. It's a waste. Like you are fucking throwing your money away. Like there is no point in doing it. They are trying to manipulate you into spending money. That's what the way these games are designed. That doesn't mean the game can't be good at the same time, but it is what it is. It's still a gotcha game. Like they are gotcha games, and then they're fucking predatory as fuck. You know, even if they're lighter than some of the other ones out there, like they're not as brutal, like where you literally will never get the character you want, like where that's a possibility. Um, they're still manipulative. Like they're trying to get 100 from you here, 100 from you there, like, oh man, I really just need 40 more pulls to get this character. And fuck, there's only like 24 hours left, and I'm never going to be able to farm that many, gems. Shit. Oh man, $100. Okay, fuck it, I'll do it. It's like that's what they're trying to get you to do in these games, and it's predatory as fuck. So,
yeah.
and
And I
yeah,
just think a lot of people don't really understand it. They think like when I talk about stuff like this or whatever with like you just regular people and everything like that who are not like you or whatever, because we understand, because obviously since we started this podcast we see how deep the rabbit hole goes as far as like microtransactions and everything like that. There's a slight push for it or against it, like in 2019 maybe, but then once COVID happened, everybody was indoors. Game companies made so much money from these microtransactions that I don't think it's ever going away anymore. And I think people became so accustomed to it that the mere mention of taking it away is like you're attacking them now. I've People have literally gotten mad at me because I don't agree with the gotcha system. Like I just don't like it. I think it's gambling.
it is
I don't
gambling.
really gambling.
Yeah,
Uh, but then not to take anyone's free will away. Like if you want to gamble, then do whatever the fuck you want to do with your money. I just don't want it in my games, like at all. Like I just don't want it in my games, and it's a big part of gaming now. To where like yeah, people are just defending the pachinko machine thing and 2K, and they'll argue me down. Oh, Montrell, it's not that bad. You just need to play the game. It's not, and it's like I don't want to play the game because it's there. It's there in my face
oh,
every time I load up the game. They're going to advertise to me, "Hey man, you got a free pull today," and I'm like, I don't want to pull anything. I just want to play the game. Like I don't want to do that. I already
yeah,
spent 60
yeah,
bucks in the game. Whereas like Genshin Impact is free, but it's like for like 2K or Madden or something like that. Like I
oh yeah,
already bought the game. I don't want to spend another $40, on the system. And like people are like, well, you don't
yeah,
have to do that. It'll take you all day, but you can make the character you want to make. And it's like, to me, that's just like no one sees a problem with it.
yeah,
And I I don't know how to counter it. I don't know what to say about it. I don't talk to people about it anymore, except for maybe you, because it's such a toxic thing to talk about now, because people will literally defend the gotcha systems and games until they die. And I don't think people understand that you're defending an addiction. Like
yeah.
you're addicted to it.
No, absolutely, dude. Like, because yeah, like I have a streak of gambling addiction in me. It's just
Yeah.
not that severe. I guess it's like the worst that comes of it is I buy shit in a gotcha game or I buy like magic booster packs, you know. I'm
Yeah.
not like going to the casino and fucking bankrupting myself or anything like that. And I've never I'm only spending money that I have budgeted for this kind of thing. I've never exceeded that, you know.
Yeah.
So like, cause I've probably talked about this before. Like, my wife and I set aside money that is specifically for our bullshit, you know, like the things we want, our hobbies, basically.
Mhm.
And that's the money I spend on this shit. So that's why I don't necessarily have a problem with it because it's just there for me to do whatever the fuck I want with, you know.
Yeah.
Generally speaking. But dude, if I did not have that money, I wouldn't play these games. You know, like if we did either didn't make enough to do that or for whatever reason like we just decided to stop budgeting that aside to the side, I would probably stop playing these games because I know I'm weak, you know, with this shit. It's difficult for me to resist sometimes. And I've been having this struggle with Honkai Star Rail, and my stance on this has kind of changed pretty recently. I like wouldn't recommend anybody play Genshin Impact anymore or Honkai. Like, because for the
Really?
reasons Montrell's talking about, like they're quality games. Like they are really quality games. Like they are better than a lot of AAA fucking games that we play, you know.
Yeah.
In terms of story and gameplay and the look and the design of the game, like they're very well made games, but at the same time that existence of the gotcha system is it like ruins the whole thing because people are going to tell you you don't have to pull, but to Montreal's point, the game throws it in your face, you know? Like it's not something you can really ignore. Like to play the game, you can't never pull. You have to pull at some point, you know? Um like the free characters they give you aren't that good in these games to the point that you can do like you can technically do everything with just those free characters, but nobody plays the game that way. If you get a pull, you're going to go pull on a banner, you know? It's like that's
Yeah.
just the way it works even if you're not an addict. Like you're going to go do it, it's a resource. The game is giving you a resource, you'll go use it, you know, in the way that
Yeah.
you see fit. So I would assume even you, like if you played Genshin and the game gave you 90 pulls over the course of you playing the game, you'd go roll on a banner that you thought was the one, you know, that had a character you wanted or something like that. Like, so that's the slippery slope, right? Is once you start doing it, if you're kind of into it, well, all of a sudden, oh shit, well, this other character, fuck, man, I don't have any gems. Like, oh shit, maybe I could just buy like 50 poles or something. And that's $100, you know? It's like, so that's kind of where I'm landing. And I think the other thing is that my opinion of Genshin has gone down as well, and Honkai actually, because I played these games so long at this point that I'm starting to see trends in both of them that I like. They're annoying as fuck. The game has significant, and this is worse in Genshin than it is in Honkai Star Rail for sure. But Genshin, dude, Genshin has the absolute fucking worst dialogue bloat in the story and the side quests to the point that I really like the world of Genshin Impact, and I read, you know, I listen to all the dialogue for the most part. I have up to most of the time, but for the side quests, a lot of the side content, like, dude, it's not voiced, so you have to like read it and click through it. And there was an event going on in the game. It's a cool event. It actually introduces like a limited time area that has all this like exploration you can do and shit, and it's fucking huge. Actually, it's like I'm surprised at how robust it is. But dude, to like unlock it, you have to go through the story in the event, which are a bunch of quests. And dude, it's just like there was a point where I just got fed up. Like you're talking to these like three NPCs and they're just talking about bullshit, you know? Like you have to do these chores basically for these three NPCs. And bro, when I tell you, I'm like clicking through it. I read the first like few lines, you know, several lines, even like 5 or 10 lines, and I'm like, all right, this conversation feels like it's nearing an end, and I'm like, all right, I'm fucking done with this. So I just start pressing X and skipping it, all of it. And I am not lying to you when I tell you that I probably pressed X to skip probably 30 to 40 more lines of dialogue on something that I felt like was done at 10. You
Yeah.
know? That's the kind of dialogue bloat that I'm talking about. They just put extraneous bullshit lines in there to just like bloat out the dialogue in the cutscenes and stuff. And it's like I'm starting to notice it more and more, and it's really annoying. Like it's like starting to piss me off. You know, it's like it's just a waste of my fucking time. Like I don't care about this random fucking NPC who's like, bro, can you go find my hair brooch, you know, or my fucking brooch or whatever the fuck. Like, okay, bro, like I don't need to hear your life story. Like, just fucking tell me where it is and I'll go get it, like that's what games do, and maybe that's not a good side quest, but I don't need 50 lines of dialogue to quote make it good. It doesn't make it good, it makes it worse, actually, because it's the same fucking activity but it takes twice as long to do, because you're reading all this dialogue. So it's like, so yeah, these games aren't like fucking pristine either, and I think that's the reality with it. And I think with Honkai lately, I've like kind of getting to the point where I'm just like, I was talking about like last week or 2 weeks ago, there was not a lot to do in the game right now, and they just released patch 1.2, and I did mention this, that it was like 2 hours of story basically. And other than that, there's not a whole lot they added, there's not a whole lot to do. Like they added another simulated universe world, which I did that in like an hour, got through all that in an hour or so. And it's like, it's just mostly grinding every day, grinding, building your characters, which is satisfying, but it's just, I don't think there's enough in that game right now to kind of keep people engaged. So yeah, we've gotten like severely off track. But
Yeah.
yeah, gacha games suck. I know that. And despite the fact that I like them and play them for whatever fucking reason, like I'm a degenerate though. Don't follow my example. Like, don't play them. And 2K, don't put up with that shit in your sports games, man. This is why I rail on Madden so much, because Madden Ultimate Team is a gotcha fucking game, inside of Madden. It's stupid and bullshit. And then they wipe it after a year, and you have to start over from zero. That's even worse than Genshin and Honkai, like that's horrific, that it's like why do people fall into this shit? I don't understand it, So and to get back to the original conversation about Tencent, it's like
Yeah.
they don't necessarily get involved in a lot of the companies they purchase, but like I said, that can change at the drop of a hat. And the second they want to start making more money, it doesn't even have to be like Chinese ideology coming in, by the way, guys. That's not even necessarily the thing that I'm like most afraid of. It's the idea that Tencent wants to make more money than they're making now. And then they go to a company like Techland, and they're like, hey, Dying Light 3, we really need more microtransactions. We really need to make some more revenue off this game, like we need a little bit more out of this one than it just being a single player game, And it's like, those are the kind of changes that could happen too. It's not just censorship, so keep that in mind as Tencent and Saudi Wealth Fund continue to expand themselves into video games. This is not something to ignore. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's like we've just taken it for granted at this point with Tencent, but dude, it's just like, how many companies are they involved with now? In the industry, the industry's not that big, So
Yeah, it's another Xbox situation, but on the other side of things, I mean, but we've been talking about this before even Xbox been acquiring
yes,
everybody. So,
yeah.
To be honest, I think they started the trend. They started the trend of acquiring everybody, and then I think Xbox and Sony started to pick it up. But everyone hasn't been paying attention to them. They only been paying attention to Sony and Xbox. So,
right, fair enough. All right, let's move on, Montrell, to our next story. Sony has announced that PlayStation 5 console sales have surpassed 40 million.
Wow.
And there are over 2,500 games available on the console. So this is in a little under 3 years. The console came out, will have come out 3 years ago in November. So it's like 2 years and 8 months since it came out. And 40 million sales. I mean, it's actually a little lower than you would think. I think PlayStation 4 by this point in its life cycle was far ahead of this.
Really?
Yeah, they were averaging, with PlayStation 4, they were averaging between 15 and 20 million units sold a year for the majority of the console's life cycle.
Okay. Well, I was just thinking, when we first talked about this 2 years ago, they were at 10 million, right? I believe. And now they're at 40 million. So that's, to me, that's super impressive. Like, what the fuck? I mean, it makes sense because I've been seeing, even I've been saying there's no excuse not to have a PlayStation 5 at this point. I mean, unless you don't have the money, obviously, guys. But like, if you do have the capital to buy a PlayStation 5, there's no excuse for you not to have one. Because they're everywhere now. I walk in Target, I see them. I'm on Amazon, they're advertising to me. You can get a PlayStation 5 in like 2 days now, like a day. which is crazy coming from
Yeah.
where me and you came from, getting our PlayStation
Yeah.
5s.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I can walk inside Walmart right now and buy a digital only PS5 right now. So
Yeah.
um I think there's no excuse. I don't think there should be any I think there should be no bitching next time when a new game comes out for PlayStation. That's exclusively PlayStation 5, like no PS4, anything like that. Because I think if you have the capital, you have no excuse not to buy one at this point, you know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a good mark. Um, but yeah, I think the lack of supply for a long time has definitely affected their ability to sell consoles, and I think it's going to permanently impact the ceiling for PS5 console sales probably. So I don't think it's going to touch PS4's 117 million units sold. But the console's healthy though. I mean, 40 million is a healthy player base at this point. Like I'd say at this point, there's no excuse to be making cross-platform games for fucking anybody.
Yeah.
Um, 40 million is enough. Like we don't need to keep making excuses about how the player base is the fucking install base is fucking small, or whatever. So
Yeah, no. I think that's a good install base now. If you can capture like one fourth that, you have 10 million people. That's 10 million units sold. Obviously, which has been the case for some of these games they mentioned already, like Final Fantasy 16 and God of War, and like Hogwarts Legacy. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I feel like I really want to know how much Xbox. So it's probably not nowhere near as many. But yeah, I just feel like PlayStation, you don't have an excuse, or you don't have an excuse now, except for if you don't have the capital, not to have a
yeah,
PS5.
yeah. So to compare against PlayStation 4, so PlayStation 4 sold um in so year by year here 2013 they sold 7.6 million units, and that's the 2 month period of November, which late the console released in late November, like November 20th or something like that, so it was only on the market for like 40 days and it sold 7.6 million units. 2014 it sold 14.8 million, 2015 17.6, so you add those three together, you're around 40 million, a little over 40 million there. But this is 3 years after the console came out. So 2016 they sold 20 million. And by the time they probably got to the 3 year mark of release from the PS4 release date in 2013, they were probably close to 55 million sold or something like that. I would guess. So, I mean, that's a significant gap in total console sales. So, we will see though. 2016 was the peak, and then it started steadily declining from there to 19 million in 2017, 17.8 million in 2018, 13.5 in 2019, and then 5.7 in 2020. So um, we'll see if PlayStation 5's lifespan is maybe a little bit longer, or Sony tries to elongate it somehow to kind of get the numbers back up. But interesting nonetheless. All right. I do wish Xbox would release numbers, but they never will.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. There's a report out there that there's a leak that Capcom, actually not a leak, Capcom themselves said this one. So, but we think we might know what the game is. Maybe though, is Capcom intends to release an unannounced game by March 31st, 2024 that will quote sell millions, end quote. So I mean, Montrell, this has got to be the next Monster Hunter, right? That they're talking about.
It could be anything, to be honest. I mean, they have a decent catalog. I think it can be another Resident Evil game. I think it could be another Monster Hunter game.
Well,
Um,
there's Dragon's Dogma 2. Maybe it's that, but they said
yeah,
unannounced. So Dragon's Dogma 2 is announced, and then there's
yeah.
Pragmata
Well, that's unannounced. That's announced as well.
that's announced as well. I mean,
Yeah,
we just got Resident Evil 4, Street Fighter 6, so it's not in those franchises.
it could
Probably
be another Marvel vs. Capcom game, because those games sell
okay.
like hotcakes.
Yeah, I
Or
just
it
feel like
could
Monster
be
Hunter is the obvious one.
Yeah, it could be Monster Hunter. I think it is Monster Hunter, or maybe, this is a stretch, like another Capcom versus SNK game, because that sold millions, like way back in the day. But people have been begging for another Capcom versus SNK game. Um, but
What
yeah,
was the one
I
on
think
Wii? Was it like Tatsunoko or whatever
Tatsunoko,
versus?
that one didn't sell as well, but that one laid the groundwork down for Capcom versus Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably another Monster Hunter game, probably Monster Hunter Paradise or something like that. I mean, we saw the leak. Remember, we saw that leak or whatever, like
Yeah.
months ago.
Yeah. Yeah. To
I
think
mean, that
we're
would make
that
sense.
close to Monster Hunter though, like that would
I
be
mean,
interesting.
when did Iceborne come out? 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago.
Iceborne came out in like 2019, dude. We're far away from that one, man.
Yeah. Okay, so that's been like
Rise has
4 years.
been 2 years.
I mean, that's enough to push out another game. We know they have multiple teams working on the Monster Hunter franchise.
Actually, we're like
This
two and a
is
half years out from Rise. Jesus Christ, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think this is my only concern is if this is a Monster Hunter game, they gotta have like some of the mechanics from Rise. They have to, man. Like I don't. They just have to, man. Because the Rise has some really good gameplay. It was just everything else surrounding Rise that wasn't good.
Are you still gonna hold? Are you gonna hold fast to your proclamation that you're not playing until G ranks out? You think you'll be able
Yes,
to resist? Okay.
yeah, I
All
will.
right.
Yeah.
What if
I think
Andy
it's
jumps into it like super hardcore?
nah, man. He's gonna have to. I'm gonna have to ignore him.
Okay. All right. What if he's like super into it though, and he's like, Montrell, come on, man. You know you want to play. You know you want to play. Are you
I
gonna be
know I'm
like
gonna
you're gonna
want to
be like you're
play.
gonna be like no bitch? Remember when you didn't play Iceborne with us in the summer?
No, I'm not gonna be like that. I will not play though. I'm just gonna. The problem is too, right? I'm gonna immediately want to go into G rank as soon as the G rank comes out. So that's
Yeah.
another problem. I might buy it like when G ranked is announced finally. I might buy it a
Get it a
couple
month
months.
before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There you
Yeah.
go. Get it a month before, and then like build up to it.
Yeah, like we did with Rise
Yep, that
before
was true.
Sunbreak came out. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Rise on PC.
Yeah. So I actually don't know. So
Okay. Fair enough. Well,
what
I
do
think
you
it's
think?
Monster Hunter. I think it's
Think it's
Monster
much?
Hunter.
Yeah.
It's got
I
that's the
don't.
obvious choice.
Yeah. It's been 4 years. It's been 4 or 5 years
Bro,
since
World
Iceborne.
came out. World came out 6 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's Monster
By
Hunter.
the
It's
time we get
definitely
to
Monster.
March, by the time we get to next March, it will be 7 years. Like we were talking about game development cycles last week. All right, y'all. Time to shit or get off the pot, Capcom. All right, like I know Monster Hunter is a fucking big game to develop, but if this game comes out with 15 monsters and you have been developing it for 5 years plus, like, come on, don't do that to us again. So fucking whatever. I know they will. We're gonna be so annoyed with this game, or we're gonna watch it from the sidelines because I'm with you. I don't want to play it. I don't want to play the base
I
release.
unfortunately I don't think it's going to get any criticism. They've
Yeah,
bred us into this. They've been breeding us into this role of accepting, the
less.
first half of the game
Yeah,
for the last what? How long is the fucking Monster? Almost 20 years now.
yeah.
It'll be 20 years actually next year. It'll be 20 years. So it came out in 2004. Wow.
Does that make you feel old?
Yes. It came out in 2004.
Yeah,
So
bro.
yes, uh, that will be in it. Yeah, this game better be like crazy because this is going to be your 20-year anniversary game. Yeah, this game got to be crazy.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, no, their 20-year anniversary game is the Monster Hunter mobile game that Niantic is releasing in September.
Oh
Did
my
you see that?
fucking god! Yeah, I saw that shit.
What was it called? Is it called Monster Hunter Now or something like that?
Monster Hunter now. Yeah, I don't even know how that's gonna work. Like,
It's a fucking dude. It's a Pokemon Go style game. It's a I think it's a augmented reality game or something like that. Come on, you want to play it.
no, I'm not doing it. I
I
played
didn't look at it.
Pokemon.
Does it
Played
have gotcha
Pokemon Go.
mechanics? I wonder.
I played Pokemon Go like crazy
Yeah,
when it first came out. It was fun.
I never touched it. All right, well, once Capcom announces this unannounced game, we will of course let you guys know All right, Montrell. Moving on. Armored Core 6. We've been talking about this game for months now. Had another gameplay trailer. Came out a couple days ago, and it was 13 minutes. And it didn't just show one mission; it showed a few different mission types and different armored cores that you could use in different gameplay styles. A little bit, some different environments. I mean, what did you think of this one? You told me you watched it, so
Yeah, man. I think I not only did I watch it, but I read some reviews on it, or not reviews, but like previews on it. Yeah, I'm so glad a lot of people said it's not Dark Souls Mecha Dark Souls. Even the gameplay doesn't look like Mecha Dark Souls. I am kind of disappointed that it's still doing the mission structure thing. I was hoping it would do more so of an adventure style. But it looks like the lands are a lot more vast and vertical. Um, and because I'll be honest with you, like in the old armor cores, it used to be like a gray field, and like you just boost forward, and you may have some things. This one, it looks like they put a lot of level design into the missions and stuff like that. Um, they did have cannon fodder. It looks like on the first couple of missions, but you were actually fighting ACs, and everything of that nature. Whether it be cannon fodder ACs or not, but you were fighting some of them at least, from what I was looking at,
yeah,
which is okay. Looks like you still have to like. It looks like they put so many enemies on the screen though that it's not going to be like super easy, because that was the issue with like the old armor cores, in my opinion. Like the first 5 to 10 hours was just like a slog. It was, if you play like
boring.
Ace Combat games, it was kind of boring until you got to the really good stuff. But this one
Yeah,
looks like it's really good. I actually love the maneuverability around the game.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I
You
think
seem
that's
very
super
mobile.
impressive. Yeah, I think that's super impressive. And even they were showing different mobile types, with the quad legs, the tank legs. Those are still super mobile as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think the game's like really good. I think this put a lot of haters to rest though. Because before this game came out, I told you, like, they were, the armor core, the super hardcore, gatekeeping armor core community was just like, oh, this is gonna be terrible. It's gonna be Dark Souls and mechas and everything like that. And even people who are like into Dark Souls and everything like that, when
Mm-hmm.
they played the game, they were like, this is not Dark Souls at all. Um, and I'm just glad. I like the soft lock on, I like the hard lock on they're doing. I even saw that wasn't on this gameplay trailer or preview. They showed arena gameplay where you can go 1v1 with another armor core or another player. And it looks really good. It looks
Yeah,
like the maneuverability is there, just playing the standard way. You don't have to hold your controller backwards. It looks like it's more so about your positioning and how you maneuver your armor core and manage your power and everything like that, or your
yeah,
yeah, just manage your power, your energy consumption and everything of that nature, which I actually like. Um, yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
This game is what I wanted. I wanted a really high quality, high budget mecha game to push the genre forward, because Daemon X Machina is not that. It's still on the old ways, and you can tell it was trying to innovate on some things, but it just didn't have the capital to do it. And this game, I feel like, is actually going to bring mecha back. And I feel like even Western developers, because I was actually tweeting about that, I want Western mechas to come back as well, not just the the Eastern equivalents to it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so I do want my Mech Warriors back. I want my Battle Tech back and all this shit like that. Like I want all that shit back, because I think there's a genre, there's a huge community that's really been silent for the longest time who wants mecha back. Um, yeah, so I don't know. This, it just looks really good. I checked it out because I didn't expect them to show spoilers, and they didn't. I still don't know what the fuck is going on in this game, and I love that. I love that they showed me so much, and I still don't know anything about this game. Um,
Mm-hmm.
one part
Yeah,
I was really impressed with was when you had to fight this giant ship. You took down one of his legs, and I thought, like, it's okay, it's going to transition to another screen or whatever. And no, you actually started climbing up that ship. It wasn't just a backdrop. I was
yeah,
like, holy shit.
yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, what you think about it?
Yeah, I mean the 1v1 armored core fight, it looked, I mean that was a boss fight. It looked like in one mission. That looked fucking sick, dude. That's what I'm here for. That kind of shit. I love the 1v1 where you're kind of on an even playing field with your opponent and you just have to out maneuver them, you know.
Yeah.
I love that shit. And, there's a lot of the big boy boss fights where you're fighting these giant fucking mechas and shit, and those are probably fun too. But that doesn't get me going as much because it's not a fair fight. You're fighting this fucking thing that literally has these giant like heated fucking grinders on it, or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that stuff still looks sick too. And I actually like, dude, this trailer kind of convinced me of what you're saying too. Watching this, it was really clear. This is not Dark Souls Armored Core. Like, um, this is very different, and I like the fact there's some little details too with the ammo. Looks like it's it's you don't just have unlimited ammo.
Yeah.
Um, you do actually have ammo that you have to keep track of. I don't know how big of a deal that's going to be in the game. That wasn't clear from this trailer, but
Well,
kind of
they
hoping
did
it is a big deal.
specify. They did specify in like interviews and stuff that you still have to pay for your ammo and
Okay.
ammo consumption and everything. I'm actually glad they kept that aspect in there. I was against it for a minute, like maybe they should take it out. But just watching how easy it is to maneuver now, I think that's where they put the casualization in the game, which I think is way
That's the right
better.
move.
It's
Yeah.
the right move.
Yeah.
But keeping all the other systems in place to where it is a AC Armored Core game through and through, where you have to, you are, a mercenary, and you have to take care of your AC, and you have to repair your AC at the end of the day. You get fees, at the end of the mission and everything like that to fix your AC. So I don't know. I think it actually promotes like really good gameplay. Like, okay, I took too much damage last time, and that took a whole bunch of my budget. I couldn't even buy a new fucking cannon to put on my back,
Yeah.
So I need to,
Yeah.
be more streamlined in what kind of damage I do and everything of that nature. I don't know. I think it's really cool. And we don't even know what other kind of stuff they had because, like in the older games, you can actually manage a company. I don't even know if they're going to do
Mm.
that in this game or not. So, um, I don't know. It just looks really fucking cool, man. I do have to be cautious to people. Like, if you don't like mecha anime, usually mecha games kind of follow that structure. It's very like pseudo geopolitics, and it's sometimes doesn't make fucking sense. Like if you
Yeah.
watch Gundam or anything like that, like sometimes it just doesn't make sense. Like they're always crying over stuff that really shouldn't matter at the end of the day.
Hmm.
But like, yeah, usually Armored Core games and mecha games in general kind of follow that as well, that structure as well in their story. Um, so yeah, I do think which is really interesting for me and you is I think the reason why you're gonna like this game is because the battle or the game director uh for this game was the game director for Bloodborne and
Hmm.
uh Sekiro.
Sekiro. Yeah.
Yep. So
Yeah, no, I mean, dude, it looks really sick. I love the aspect too of like customizing your armor core and kind of tailoring it to the mission you're in and stuff like that. Like that's gonna be fucking super fun,
yeah.
as well. So I do think that this game though is it's kind of an interesting one because it seems like they actually stayed pretty true to what Armor Core is. And there's some risk to that, based on the decade plus since the last release in this franchise, you know, that they've made fucking 6 Souls like games. And, that's kind of what people expect from them at this point. And I think a lot of FromSoft fans are going to come in here and not necessarily like what they see when they play this game. So that's going to be an interesting aspect to this whole game that I'm going to be interested
Well,
to see how it plays out.
um, yeah, the casual Soul fans, like if you've been following this, everybody, literally everybody has been saying this is not a Dark Souls game. It's not a Souls game. It's not even the battle director or the main director, game designer,
Yeah.
game director rather said like it's not a soul. We took aspects of it, like just just from progressing and everything like that, from learning from their mistakes in the Souls games and everything like that, but it's not, an Armored Core game through and through, or it's not. I'm sorry, a Souls game through and through at all. So I think a lot of people have to deal with that. They're going, like you said, they're going to have to deal with that. But
Yeah.
to be honest with you, they've been advertising that, and other people, even hardcore like Soulsborne influencers, have been saying this is not an arm. This
I
is
just
not a
don't think that's going to
Soulsborne.
matter.
Yeah,
I don't think them and everybody saying this is going to matter. How many people played Elden Ring, bro? Like there's no way in fucking hell that all those people pay attention to what FromSoft is saying to what influencers are saying, there's just like there's gonna be a lot of people that play this off the name of being like, oh fuck, this is the team that made Elden Ring. Oh, it's a mecha game. This is fucking sick, bro. You know, it's like, and then they're gonna play it, and it's just not anything like what they would expect from their prior experience. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just projecting that might not be true. Maybe people fucking love it. Maybe Armored Core comes into the spotlight and fuck, dude, it goes into the mainstream. Like people fucking love it all of a
I
sudden.
think
You know?
this will put Mecha back in the mainstream. I
Yeah.
After seeing this and then seeing like non Mecha people play the game and uh you know just non Mecha people and Soulsborne people play the game and love the game. I think this is the game to put this franchise in, or this genre rather, back in mainstream. It just needed it, man. I think people are just wanting something new now, and this is what's new, and I love it.
All right, fair enough. Well, as Montrell was saying earlier in the show, he is chomping at the bit to play this fucking game. So we will certainly be covering it. He'll be playing it. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be playing it, but we'll see how the next month shakes out for me. So, um, but especially if it has co-op, which I think it does, right?
Yes, I think certain missions do have
Okay.
co-op. Yep.
Yeah, this may be our co-op game then for sure. I'll totally be down to play this if we both pick it up. All right. Well, let's move on to our final story. I wanted to talk about this real quick because it just got announced today. It was a trailer release for Castlevania Nocturne, which is on Netflix. It's a continuation of the Netflix Castlevania series, but it takes place, I believe, they are setting this 300 years in the future, despite the original speculation was it was not going to do that. This is the one that is going to be based off of Symphony of the Night. It's actually Rondo of Blood first, and then potentially Symphony of the Night as well. So did you watch this trailer, Montreal? Did you check this out?
No, I didn't watch the trailer. Um,
Okay.
I did see that it was coming out though. Now, usually for like Castlevania, like so far they've been fire, so I haven't really been like, oh, this is gonna be bad or whatever. So it looks really
Yeah.
good.
So, I mean, it looks good. The animation has always been good in this, these in the original show, and this is looking great too. The trailer, but I am a little bit different from everybody else with this one. So I was not as hot on the original Castlevania show as everybody else seemed to be. Like most people fucking love this. They think it's like amazing. I got really bored with it after season 2, to the point that I did never finished it. Like
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
watched like a couple episodes of season 3 and I dropped it. Like I never picked it back up. And the reasoning for that is that I really thought this show was so much weaker without Dracula's presence.
Yes, we did discuss that. It is
Yeah, and
weaker
we
without.
discussed that on the show, and this incarnation of Castlevania may not have this problem. So, is that I think they made Dracula super compelling in the first season, and then the second season, a lot of the second season, and then he exits at a certain point, and as far as I know, doesn't come back. And the rest of the cast were not interesting enough to justify. Well, actually, besides Alucard, but he also kind of just takes a back seat after season 2. And I just lost interest in it. So I'm kind of hoping I'm going to give this one a fresh start because I don't really need to know what happens in the first one. I'll probably just go read a plot synopsis or something to kind of understand what's happening here. I know the general outline of what happens in those 2 games, Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night. So I'm probably going to give this a shot. But the animation looks excellent, though. And the setup is really interesting. See, what I thought I had when I first saw this, because the main character Richter Belmont, they show this in the trailer. His mother gets killed by a vampire, and I'm assuming that's the crux of his whole journey, at least at first. And I thought, because I remember reading early on when this was first announced that they were not skipping ahead like in the timeline. It was going to be Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood, but it was going to take place like a few years after the original show. So I
Mhm.
thought the mother in this was Sifa from the original show, and I was like, "Oh fuck, dude, that's crazy that they would kill her off in a fucking trailer like that too, and they'd show it." But no, it's not her. So So I was like, that was kind of a downer. Actually, I was like, oh fuck, oh well, damn. So, because that would have been ballsy as fuck, dude. Because I'm sure people love that character. So from the original show.
Yeah, no, I think it's really interesting how they're getting away from the original cast. I mean, I was waiting for them to do that, and we have Richter Belmont, who's like that's the one in the games, right? Like the first game, Richter Belmont.
He's Rondo Blood.
Oh,
Yeah, so
okay.
the story in the game, and this, I mean, I don't like, it doesn't seem like they're gonna follow the games exactly. Is he fights Dracula at the end of Rondo of Blood, and like you play him the whole game, and he dies at the end. I think like
Really?
he loses. Yeah, yeah, because the beginning of Symphony of the Night, you play as Richter fighting Dracula, and he gets killed. Like he dies. He fails, and that's the game. That's like Symphony of the Night is Alucard coming out, and he's the one that ends up, I didn't play Symphony of the Night, so I don't know the actual ending, but I assume his journey is to defeat Dracula after the events of that moment. So,
What else did
and
you do in the fucking game? That's
I don't
crazy.
know if Richter actually dies or not. I don't, because like I said, I never played Symphony of the Night, but that's like the setup. That's like the first scene in the game is you're literally fighting Dracula like it's the last boss fight of Rondo of Blood. It's like takes place directly after the end of the Rondo of Blood. Like you're going from like end of game into the next scene in Symphony of the Night. So yeah,
So
it's actually
at
a
the end,
super cool setup.
so at the end of Rondo Blood, do you just walk into the room and that's the end of the game?
I don't know. I think that's the part I'm not sure about because, like I said, I've never played these games to completion, either of them. I just know that like from hearing it from others. So I don't know. I think you do fight the boss at the end of Rondo of Blood. I would assume. Like I don't think they ended the game without a boss fight, right?
Okay.
But I don't know if there's a conclusion though at the end of Rondo of Blood. You know, where you see what plays out at the beginning of Symphony of the Night at the end of Rondo of Blood as well. I don't think so. So I'm not
I think
sure.
that's super cool, actually. Like, I don't think a game ever done that. I mean, games have done that before, but like, not to the extent where you're playing the main character in the next game, and then that character dies, and like now you're a new character. I think Metal Gear tried to do something like that, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and this is the one where this is where the famous line from Castlevania comes from, where Dracula's like, "What is a man? A miserable pile of secrets," or whatever.
yeah.
So yeah, so seeing this, I mean, this is probably the best Castlevania story to adapt. So I am intrigued just from that regard because Symphony of the Night is badass. Um, it's pretty badass. Alucard is fucking awesome in that game.
So
So
am I? So the first what 3 seasons that because it was 3 seasons of Castlevania, right?
yeah.
Did those touch any of the games at all, or that was like their own original story?
I think it was mostly their own original story. The first game doesn't have much of a story.
Okay.
I believe Trevor is the Belmont though in the first game, because he was the original Belmont, like the first one to fight Dracula and defeat him. So,
Okay.
um, so that's it's a good origin to start with. But yeah, after that is Simon's Quest actually, and they're skipping that. So,
Oh, they're
um,
skipping Simon's Quest. Okay.
yeah. Yeah. Simon's Quest takes place after the first game, which I would assume would be soon after what we saw in the first season, I guess. Um, and yeah, they're not doing that for this one. So
Okay. I
this
wonder
is
why
like
they're skipping
hundreds of
that one.
years. This is like hundreds of years after that. So,
Okay.
in terms of other games, though, yeah, I'm not too familiar with anything beyond like 1, 2, with 2 being Simon's Quest, the first game, and then Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood. Those are the only ones I really know anything about. The rest of the Castlevania games, I'm pretty vague on. So,
Okay.
but there's a ton of them. I mean, there's a bunch on GBA. I want to say there was one on N64 also. Like there's a fuck ton of 2D
Yeah, I know the universe
Castlevania
and
games.
like the lore is super deep. Like
Yeah,
they have timelines so everything. They kind of all interweave with each other one way and
mhm,
another.
yeah,
So I always been interested in the franchise, but obviously when I was younger, I couldn't play these type of games. So my grandma was like, "Yeah, that's literally the
devil shit.
devil." Yeah.
No, I mean the franchise is badass, man. That's why it's such a shame that Konami just like took a fucking dirt nap for nearly 10 years. Cuz yeah, Castlevania is fucking cool, dude. Like it's a really cool video game franchise. Super creative. Great rendition of an excellent, novel. So yeah, good stuff. But this is coming on September 28th on Netflix. So apparently going to be an 8-episode season. So yeah,
All right.
cool anime stuff. All right, moving on. That is it for news. But like I mentioned at the beginning, we do have a listener question from somebody new. I'm gonna butcher this guy's name, so I apologize in advance. Thyman Deorst, I believe. So he sent us a question in, and he asked us. Quote, found your podcast and I've been listening to it for about half a year while I'm working my part-time job, and I had a question for you guys. What do you guys think about the esports scene? Because me and my friend of mine are hardcore Overwatch players. He's a grandmaster and I'm in master, and he said that he was thinking about joining a contenders team. So what do you guys think about the esports scene in general? I don't know if you guys have discussed this before. If that's the case, then my bad. We probably have, but we'll talk about it again. And then a side note, I also love the Honkai episodes as I played the game myself. So yeah, thank you for writing in. We appreciate you listening, of course, and sticking with us as well. So Montreal, yeah, we've talked about esports before, but it's actually been a while.
Yeah,
Now
it's
that I
been a
think about
while.
it, I feel like we haven't talked about it since like the early run of the show. So um, do you want to go first on this one?
Yeah. If you ever listen to your parents and said that you can't make money from playing video games, it's bullshit. If you're a masters in Overwatch or grandmasters in Overwatch, I know you say you're a masters in Overwatch. I say go for it. I think esports is really cool. Um, I think it's really good. I don't have a problem with it at all. Like I said, if I was a kid now, I would try to be a some kind of
I
esports
agree.
person.
Yeah, we
You
came
know,
up at the wrong time, dude.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
we came up through a time where parents were telling us like, "There's literally no money in playing video
Bro,
games.
I
Why
would
are
have
you
been a
playing
Dota
video?"
player, like Dota 2 player. I would have fucking tried to go pro in that game.
Yeah, I probably would like try to go really hard in fucking fighting games. Um, but the pools weren't that big, and it was still just to a local scene. But who would have knew like it blew up? So I say yeah. If you're that good at Overwatch, yeah, man. If there's a team that's willing to pay for it or sponsor you or something like that, I say go for it. I think esports is really cool. It's really competitive. I think it's like the next genre of sports entertainment. I think it's pushing there. As far as how big video games are in general. And I think a lot of people underestimate how big esports are. I mean, it was one Worlds where it was for League of Legends. I think it was like 2017 or 2018. I can't remember, where it was bigger than the Super Bowl. It got more views than the Super Bowl and I think the World Cup at one point. Not combined, but it got more views than that than them on Twitch.
Hmm.
So I mean, there's definitely a market for it. Uh, and I think it's a really good thing. I mean, I keep saying that, but I really do think it's a good thing. Now, does every game need to be an esport? I think that's a whole other question. And
Yeah.
I won't get into that. But yeah, I do like the esports scene.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I actually have a pretty good history with esports as well in terms of being a viewer, at least. I got really into it with StarCraft 2 when that game came out. The
Oh
esport,
yeah.
the early esports scene, like go from
Was
beta
StarCraft, yeah.
before release and into the early release, like first year release of StarCraft 2, was actually fucking awesome, dude. Like I love that era with like Husky StarCraft and like HD StarCraft and those casters
Yeah.
that were just like like that was kind of one of those like ground movements in YouTube that was that was fucking awesome to be a part of and shit. But so that was a really great time. And then Dota 2 was the next one that I got really into watching the pro scene in that game for a few years. The international is one of the best like tournaments to watch, in my opinion, in terms of a competitive, um, something competitive to watch. And in my opinion, I'm with Montrell. Like I'd even go a step further than him. Like I put esports, like video games, on the same level as sports. I'm not gonna say that for every game, you know. Like I'm not gonna put Apex in that category, but dude, like League, Dota, like they're fucking, for all intents and purposes, they are sports. They're in the same caliber as like a football team or soccer or you know, basketball, whatever, you know, whatever sport that we legitimize.
Hmm.
I think they're in that same realm. They are often more complicated than real sports, many real sports. and they also take exceptional amounts of skill to play at a high level.
Yes.
I think the the ridicule that gamers have received from the sports realm is a super frustrating thing to see as somebody who crosses over into that realm. The level of ignorance that comes from folks in the sports realm when it comes to video games is just like super disappointing that they're gonna try they act as a barrier to these things becoming legitimized, in my opinion, because they just don't understand it, and I almost feel like they're threatened by it at the same time. um I think they seem to think that it's easy to do, or it's like it's not as hard as what they do, which is fucking bullshit. Like esports teams train fucking year round. Like they almost murder themselves to be as good as they
Yeah,
are,
the scrimmages
And
that they do, I know for League of Legends in particular, they do scrimmages like every fucking day almost,
mhm,
on the hour, and they have to. It's so where they have to like live with each other so they can learn
yeah,
how to do the
right,
teamwork and stuff like that. They have houses and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure it's the same way for Overwatch's community or Overwatch's esports scene. I remember at one point when Overwatch was at its first reception, because I'll be honest with you, yeah, I'll be honest with you, Diamond, that Overwatch in particular, I think Overwatch 2 changed it as far as like it being the esports. Overwatch 1, it was so hard for me to get into Overwatch 1 as an esport. I saw the potential there. It was just hard to watch as a viewer. It's fun to play competitively, but it's hard to watch as a viewer. And I think that's the biggest hurdle, because I remember we talked about that earlier, like way
yeah,
early in our life cycle of this podcast, Overwatch esports. And it's one of those things where it's like you gotta, if you're watching it like as a viewer, you're like, what the fuck is going on? But if you're playing the game, you know exactly what's going on. And Overwatch is probably the only esport that has that type of feel to it. Because like when I'm watching Apex or something like that, even a normal person can kind of predict what's going on with Apex. But with Overwatch, there's so many, the two modes in particular for Overwatch 2. I haven't watched Overwatch 2 competitively, but Overwatch 1 in particular, where it was the payload one.
yeah,
That one was just like, I was just like, yo, this is crazy. And then I think they had the capture the hill mode as well.
mhm,
Um, it was just really hard to keep track of. And I think that's the one thing that Overwatch esports cinematography needs to do better at, is capturing what's going on the screen to make it more accessible and more digestible for viewers.
mm,
Um, because even in League, in Dota, it's digestible. You know what's going on.
yeah,
I think the casters, I think they need to do a better job at saying what's going on, because even when I'm watching like Dota, and I don't even play Dota, if I'm watching Dota, the casters are keeping me entertained and letting me know like this is crazy what's going on, and I'm
yeah,
like, I don't know what's going on, but I know this is crazy, and then
yeah.
like their reaction and stuff like that. So
Well, yeah. Or
yeah.
sorry, finish your point. Yeah.
Yeah, so um I just think the Overwatch esports scene needs to grow, and or needs to just evolve in a different way from like, you guys can't follow the same methods that Overwatch or that Dota and League do. You guys have to kind of pave your own way, and maybe go like the way of like Halo, because you're at your core, you're an arena shooter. You're not
Mhm.
uh you're a team based game, but you're not like a MOBA. And I think people try to approach Overwatch esports like MOBAs, where to me you guys are almost on par with like MLG, Halo style arena shooters, and that's what you
Right.
guys need to kind of tailor it towards.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think to your point about like Dota 2, just to add on to that, I think Dota 2 has done an absolutely excellent job of building in the ability to watch pro games into their client.
Yes, yes,
It is incredible how robust it is. Like you can go watch a pro match yourself live, and you have complete control over the viewing experience. You can play it with casters. You can pick different languages for those casters. You can also do it with no casters and just watch the game, and you can control the graphs that you see, what information is displayed. And even if you're watching a caster, if you are watching a caster, you can let them control it the way they did, because you can watch these not live as well, like VODs basically. And they will control it for you, and go around the map, and you'll watch the camera from the caster's perspective as well. There's just so many options within the Dota 2 client, for watching a game. I think other games need to follow this path as well if they want their games to be legitimized, and that includes Overwatch 2. And League also needs to do this because, as
Yes.
far as I
Yeah.
understand, they don't, which I think is unbelievable given how successful they are. It's fucking crazy to me. So I think that will help build the audiences and ultimately future proof them as well, and make their game the best place to watch, rather than sending people to Twitch or wherever the fuck. Because then once you're done watching, fuck it, man. Oh, I want to play some fucking League. It's like, so you keep people in the game, you keep the game engaging. I think it's a really good way to do that. So, and I think Valve's done an excellent job with that in Dota 2. So I'd like to see other companies kind of follow suit personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, esports are awesome. I hope, because it does feel like it's plateaued a little in the last few years.
Yeah, it does.
Because there was kind of a boom, like I'd say like a decade ago, pretty consistently, like a huge boom where it kind of was growing year over year over year. Like the international was insane. The amount of money they were making was like going up by orders of magnitude every year. That the prize pools were getting up to like ludicrous numbers. I mean, like 20 million or something like that, or 30 million. And that has since kind of stabilized and fallen off a little bit. So I'd like to see some more growth, certainly. But other games coming into the arena too. I know a lot of games try to be esports, but like Apex or something, or even PUBG, it's like I think you can't design your game for that necessarily.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to do. I think you kind of have to have the right thing at the right time for it to really truly become an esport. Because you just need that level of watchability but complexity that makes it interesting. And yeah, I just I don't know, personally for me, I don't think Apex has that. It just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't do it for me, but maybe other people disagree. So, but well, thank you, Thyman, for your question, and appreciate you sticking with us for as long as you have. And yeah, for the rest of you, if you guys want to send us a question, please do so. We will answer them on the show here. Montrell, that is all we had this week. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we go?
No, actually, I don't have anything else to talk about.
All right, fair enough. Well, then let's get out of here. So for those of you who like this episode, please like the show, review the show, subscribe to the show on whatever feed you're listening to it on, and please share it with your friends. If you'd like to interact with us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrap for the Hokage for Montrell. That is the number 4, not the word. I'm at Thundernut01, and the show is at The Players Take. You can send us questions on Twitter, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. And yeah, Thyman was our first email question that we've ever gotten. So that was a nice thing to see in the old inbox. So that was great. So all right, well, thank you guys for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next week. Bye.